Yes, people, welcome back to St James's Park, where unfortunately, for the first time in a few years, we have tasted defeat against Arsenal. Make sure you check out the vlog where I've been with Robbie and Cecil from AFTV on that one, winding them up all the way until stoppage time, to be fair. And I've just done a fan cam on Arsenal Fan TV, and we'll have fan cams coming up with Robbie and Lee Judges on the channel later. But this is the match reaction, and it's not that instant. It's 8:10 now, so the game has been finished for a while, and it's probably a good job, to be honest, because I might have went dramatic and over the top in this reaction without having an hour or so to maybe cool down and have a think about things, and probably just try and get some long-term perspective on the result and on the season so far. Because when the full-time whistle initially went, when we were in the stadium there, I was really annoyed, man. I was thinking, I was starting to get worried and starting to be a bit like, the season's going to be a concern for me. And, you know, I see some fans still come at me and say that, and I'm still feeling a bit like that because it's just fresh, and it's again another last-minute defeat. To have that taste of a last-minute defeat once again. Liverpool here, Arsenal here, 0-0s away all the time. It's frustrating, man, of course it is. But I guess, you know, the Liverpools and the Arsenals, those are the two best teams in the league. Those are the two teams that are going for the title. Man City don't quite look up to it anymore. Chelsea, you know, they're nowhere. No one else is anywhere near these two sides. But Newcastle were there once again until stoppage time. You know, until stoppage time, we were in that game. And there's a part of me where I'm thinking, you know, Eddie Howe, has he been a bit defensive there? Has he been a bit negative? Did we sit back too much? Do we invite pressure? And then that means the inevitable happens where the opposition scores. There's a bit of me in that. But there's also a bit of me where I'm looking at this and thinking we don't have enough off the bench going forward. And even in midfield, that midfield looked tired towards the end there, and I think maybe if Jacob Ramsey's fit and you have him available and he can come in and make a difference, that could alter things. But more so going forward, I think again the absence of Jon Wissa, spending 55 million quid on a Premier League proven striker who gets injured before he's even kicked a ball for Newcastle is a killer blow. Like we've seen many killer blows so far this season late on in the match. But when there's no Wissa and you're bringing on a Sula who, yes, did well against Bradford, scored goals against Bradford. And I've got to mention Alanga as well. You know, he comes on and we'll get into the penalty stuff soon, but there's just not enough going forward. When you think if it's Wissa replacing Voltemada instead of a Sula replacing Voltemada against Arsenal, one of the best teams in Europe. And remember, we have to remember, this is a Champions League semi-finalist team here who strengthened in the summer, adding the likes of Eze and Zubamendi to their roster. Great players, fantastic team. Then yeah, you just think, well, if you could bring in a Wissa off the bench instead of an Asula, if you could bring in a bit more strength and depth, then they could change things. We're bringing on Lascelles. You know, Tino Livramento comes off with an injury. I really hope that's not a real nasty one. Obviously, he comes off on a stretcher. Never a good look, of course. It's worrying. He was crying. I think someone said to me on the replays he was crying, so that's scary. Hopefully that's not a long-term injury for Tino Livramento, but that kind of turned the game on its head. You know, that injury, that stoppage in play, adding on to 8-minute stoppage time in which Arsenal get the winner. Newcastle not really doing enough, like I say, sitting back, inviting pressure, fumbling, man. Fumbling under dangerous situations again. Nick Pope is the best keeper in the world in that first half. He's up there. I was saying to the people around me during the game, I says, Nick Pope, if he went just off a traditional goalkeeper, he's one of the best. If he could play with his feet, he'd be playing for Real Madrid. If he had distribution, he'd be absolutely elite, but he can't. First half, you've got to give him the credit. You've got to say he keeps us in the game. He keeps us in the game with 2 or 3 massive saves. Huge saves. Nick Pope, you know, we'd be 2 or 3-0 down without him, so credit to him. Fantastic first half. But second half, man, the lack of knowledge in where to put the ball, when to put the ball, distribution with your feet, it's embarrassing at times. It really is. You know, and it's their goal. It's their winner that comes from that. It's Nick Pope aimlessly just bringing it straight to their player. They go and get the corner, they score, and even for the corner, he's nowhere near it. But I can't really put all the blame on him because without him, we lost the game in the first half. You know, we lost the game in the first half. I've got to credit Arsenal, and I have credited them on their channel. They were fantastic. That's the best I've seen Arsenal play in years. But I also just think Newcastle aren't quite doing enough. Anthony Gordon, where are you? You know, Delia Smith, where are you? Where are you, Anthony Gordon? I'm not seeing enough. Where's the Gordon we've seen here 2 years ago? Where's the Gordon we've seen here last year in the Carabao? Scoring winners at the Emirates, holding the corner flag like he's Thierry Henry. Better off holding the fucking bag for life at the minute. He can't score for shit. He's got no assists, now in him. I'm not seeing enough from Anthony Gordon. Elanga comes on. We should have got a pen. We'll not jump that far ahead. But yeah, you know, Murphy and that are coming off. We're just not doing enough going forward. The midfield today, although Joelinton put himself about as usual. You know, there's Tonali with his usual stuff as well. He's been class all season. Defensively, very good. Shout out to Malik Chow. I thought he was very impressive. You know, I gave him a bit of stick last week for the clumsiness and for what probably should have been, well, definitely should have been a red card. You know, a couple of yellows in there. But today he was outstanding. Really held his own against Gyökeres, who scored 50-odd goals last year. Big money move. You've got Ezes, you've got Sakas. You know, these are a top side. And we held Rome. We did really well. We go 1-0 up. 1-0 up. Big Nick. Voltamada yet again. Header. What a header. What a delivery. What a finish. And you think, oh yes, this is our day. This is it. This is what we do against Arsenal. You know, we'll win against Arsenal. We'll frustrate Arsenal. We'll wind Arsenal up. And we did that all the way until whatever it was, the 85th minute then, when of course it was Mikel Merino that scored. But I had the Arsenal fans saying to me, and at half time we're discussing it, is it a penalty for them in the first half? They're wanting the foul on Gyökeres. It goes to VAR. Surprisingly for an actual change VAR, the referee goes over and disagrees with it, changes his mind at the moment and doesn't give the penalty. Big surprise there, big shock that once he sees it on the screen he doesn't give it that way. When I seen it first of all from the seat in the stadium, I thought, oh, we're in trouble here. Looks like Pope took him out. But then you see it and you're hearing the reasonings and you watch the replays at half time, and I've seen them since, and you think, well, actually, he gets the toe on it, doesn't he? You know, he gets a toe there, he gets a bit of the ball, and Gyökeres is so dramatic that he's probably played himself, to be honest with you. He's probably outdone himself that it's been given against him, that foul. So, yeah, it could go either way, that one for me, but probably the right decision in the end. And maybe you could say the same for the penalty decision. Now, if I did this video immediately at full time, if it was live and I was at home or live or whatever, I would have been straight in there like, what on earth, we've been robbed, disgraced, it's a handball. And I still stick by that it's a handball. Of course it's a handball, it hits him on the fucking hand, so it's a handball. His hand's up here. But again, you're starting to think, well, is it a natural motion where he's sliding, and obviously you're sliding, the hand's going to go up. Is that right? For me, it's still a handball and it's still a penalty. I'm still saying it's a penalty. But, you know, Arsenal and are saying where's he meant to put his hands, what they're meant to do. I kind of get that as well. It's close range. But at the end of the day, it's in the box. It's his hand. It's a handball for me. 2 weeks in a row now, Newcastle haven't been given a penalty. Voltamada at Bournemouth, shape pull. You know, we've seen Man U get a pen for that yesterday. Someone it was anyways in the Premier League. And then, of course, today with that handball, I just think Newcastle aren't getting the decisions for them for penalties. But again, Arsenal wanting a penalty. So does it even itself out? Arsenal fans in the comments, surely will be seeing. So I've just got to look at that last 5 to 10 minutes when Newcastle, I don't want to say bottled it, but I will say kind of threw it a little bit. Didn't do enough for me. You know, is it too negative? Is it too defensive? The substitutions were there, right? Arsenal are a top side, they've got top players, but I think at least hang on to that draw, and I think that's probably a fair result in the end. Arsenal better team first half, could have had a couple of goals. Pope brilliant. Second half, you know, Newcastle go into it 1-0 up. They have a great chance at the start of the second half, miss it. Even the offside one, miss it. And then the decisions are here and all there. But for me, it's just an absolute nightmare, killer blow to lose the game once again, right at the death. And like I said at the start of the video, I don't want to be too dramatic. We're only in September, but it does have that feeling of like we're 15th. Got all the Mackems reminding me they're 3rd or 4th, whatever they are. And I'll keep saying it, it's only September, but it's a bit of a worrying, reoccurring theme that we'll continue to lose games in the last minute, continue to not score enough goals. But Wish has to come back, the team needs to gel, Voltamada needs to get in. We've had tough fixtures at the start of the season. We've already played Arsenal, Liverpool, a couple of difficult away games in Villa and Bournemouth getting a draw. It's not the end of the world, table doesn't look great at the minute, but there's a long season ahead. Champions League next week and then Forest here next Sunday. I've got to beat them. The bloody Mackems beat them at their place yesterday, so please don't let me down on that one. But let us know what you think. Wherever you watch the game, overseas, at home, here in the stadium, drop a like, subscribe to my channel TV, and I'll see you on the next one.